this. Multiplication looks like this. Proving a point. This is just f, can be written like this, f of g of x, or f times g. Ooh, I'm going into my f of x times g of x, right? That's multiplication, which should not be mistaken for this. Fog and goff, and gog and hov, and hog and gaw. When you have the open dot in the middle, it looks like a no. So we say fog, or goff, or whatever, if they're flipped around. This is not multiplication. It's not like, oh, Mrs. Lepp forgot to fill in the dot. She did not. That is a different thing. Closed dot means multiplication. Open dot means composition. And what it means is, it means f of g of x. F of g of x. What the heck is that? Well, let's look at this. If I give you f of 3, you'd be like, thank you, that's an easy question. What would you do if I gave you f of 3? You put 3 in for x and you move on, correct? Okay. If I gave you f of a, a little harder, but you still do it, what would you do? Just plug a in for x, move on. We agree? So if I give you f of g of x now, what am I going to do?
Plugging g of x for every x in the f of x?
Yeah, that's it. That's all this is today. That's literally it. You're plugging every 3 in for every x, a in for every x. Now you're plugging g of x in for every x in f. That's all it is. If you understand that, lesson's really easy. If you don't understand that, lesson's really hard. Okay? Make sense? Now, when I plug in f of 3, I'm going to get an answer. When I plug in f of a, I'm going to get an answer, right? When I plug in g of x into f of x, I'm going to get an answer. You guys get an answer, and then you try and solve for x after, for some unknown reason. I didn't realize that in my first few years. I was like, what is going on? But that's what you do. You'll get like 3x plus 1, and then you're like, equal to 0, and then you solve. It's not equal to 0 at all, actually. It's equal to f of g of x, right? So once you get your answer, like once you get your graph, you're done. You just box, you move on. Don't set it equal to 0 and solve. Now, why would I say that? Because 99% of you will set it equal to 0 and solve, even after I stated that statement. Okay? No solving. You're just getting a simplified equation, and you're done. All right? So if we look at this one here, example 1, these ones actually have numbers, correct? So this is f of g of 6. Well, that's the same as saying f open dot g of 6. Would I ever write it like this? No, that's confusing. So I'm never going to write it like that. If it's like that, I'm going to rewrite it like the one above, right? Because that's just more helpful. So what's the first thing I have to find? G of 6. So this is a graph. So G of 6 is actually at 3. So I have now equal to f of 3. And what's f of 3? 0. And we're done. That's it. Now guess what we found? What did we find? Y. And what was x? No, what was x?
X was 6.
X was 6. So actually on the graph of f of g of x, we just found a coordinate. On the graph of f of g of x, we just found a coordinate at 6 and 0. That's it. That's all we're doing. Every single time we're plugging in an x, getting out a y, we're getting a coordinate. Right? So I want you guys to try B, C, D, and then what's this? Anything different? No, I just didn't give you the graph. You have to find the value. Okay? Example 1, example 2, you're trying them out. Voila. Okay, cool. So now we have G of f of 0 is 0 plus 6, which is 6. So now we're doing G of 6, which is negative 3 times 6 plus 5, which is negative 13. And what's my coordinate actually? 0 and negative 13. This is my input, this is my output. There's some stuff happening in the middle, but do not care, right? So this is if I have a value, I can get out a point, just one coordinate. That's all I'm getting. When I'm filling in an x, I'm getting out one y, I'm getting one coordinate, correct? Cool. What if I do this, though? Am I getting out a coordinate? I'm getting out a whole bunch of coordinates. I'm actually getting out the graph, the entire graph, correct? Because I'm not plugging in just one x and getting out just one y. So immediately when I see fog, you write it in the order that it is. So it's going to be f of g of x. What do you suppose my first step is going to be? Put g of x in there. So I'm going to get f of what? X squared. Cool. Then what? This x squared goes in for all the x's in f. If you don't overthink the situation, that's all you've done so far, right? X goes in for f. X in for x. Whatever's in that bracket goes in for x. So my x happens to be the square root of x plus 4. So it's going to be the square root of x squared plus 4. And now I have my graph. What's the domain of that graph? XER is addition of squares. Okay, what about this one? This is going to be my one I'm going to star. So this is going to be g of f of x. So we get g of what? What is f of x? What are we going to do? Math. That's the other option that you guys give me on. True. What am I going to do? It's going to go into the x squared. This is where I'm going to get wrong answers. Because people are going to tell me this, which is not incorrect. This is correct. Totally true. But it's not actually correct because I need to follow behind with something. Was there a restriction before that just went away because I squared it?
Yes.
So if at any point in time there was a restriction, you have to keep the restriction. We agree? What was the restriction?
Must be greater than -4.
Yes, I supposed to be greater than -4. So I actually can't box this at this very moment. Viciously erasing. I can't box it right there. I have to follow behind with x has to be greater than or equal to -4. Because if not, I actually have a full line, right? I have a line with a y-intercept of 4, up one, right one, up one, right one, up one, right one, down one, left one. And this line just carries on for life, correct? Is that actually the true answer, though? No. It is a line that carries on, but it starts at -4 and it goes onwards forever, yes? But it doesn't have that full line there. So if you don't follow behind with the restricted domain, you're actually wrong. You're telling me it's this line. It's not the whole line. Okay? Because if you type this into your calculator, or this into your calculator, you get two totally different graphs. This one is the line x plus 4, it goes on for life. This is going to be x plus 4, but it's only starting at -4. So I always, when I'm checking my domain of these functions, of these composition functions, I always type in to my y equals the equation before I simplify anything. So the moment I immediately type my f into my g, or my g into my f, that's the equation I put into my y equals. Not the simplified one, because that'll catch my domain problems. Do you know what I mean? You have to write the simplified one in the end, but that's how it goes. Okay, I'm going to go down to C. This one is f of g of x. So I get f of what? Which is, I really need to change my questioning skills, x plus 3. And I'm going to put that in for the x's in f, correct? Well, the x's in f is 1 over x. So I take this x, I toss it across the room with like a football throw, and I get 1 over, take the x, toss it, take the x plus 3 and put it in its spot. What do I have to fall behind with? X what? Can equal -3. What if I have g of f of x? I'm going to have g of 1 over x, and that's going to go into the x is in g. G is x plus 3, so what am I going to get? What do I have to do? X can equal 0. That one's actually in transformed form, isn't it? Where is my vertical asymptote at? X can equal 0. What's the horizontal asymptote at?
Reduced to half.
I didn't, like, I have magic hands. I don't even know how that happened. Cool, it just erased itself. I don't even, like, I just touched it in my hand magically. Does my hand delete?
Where's your podcast? What?
Have I discovered some magical...
Maybe it thinks your hand is the other end.
No, but the other end doesn't erase.
No.
No. Did you see Peter try it? No, it was Hunter who tried it. I think it's just doing it right now, and I don't know why it is. It's... How is it working like that today? It's never done that before. Is there like an update that happened?
No, like you have the eraser on top of your...
Yes, but we've been doing that. We tried this at the very beginning. It did not work.
Maybe it is working.
Did they like throw me an update?
Work properly. Try it.
No, it does work now, but I don't know why.
So much easier. You were complaining about not having it, now you're complaining that you do have it.
No, I'm not complaining. I'm shocked. I feel like Harry Potter came last night and just fixed all my world's problems.
So this is gonna be a fun podcast, isn't it?
This is amazing.